Hello, my name is Dexter, and I would like to thank each and one of you that has come tonight to join me on this post-editing Lightroom on how to edit photos. So today I will be showing you guys how I go through the process of how I edit my photos. When you load up Lightroom, you will be presented with this screen. To upload a photo that you would like to edit, you come over here to Library. In the bottom left, you will see Import, and you will click that. And you will just scroll to the file where you put your image files in. In my case, I keep it in this folder. And because I already pre-imported my photos, I'm just going to click Cancel. And one note, before you start uploading your photos here, it's important to know that to be able to to be able to edit photos like this, you're going to need a camera to shoot in RAW settings and not in JPEG. And essentially what that does is it takes a file and lets you be able to edit from a wide variety of ranges. And you guys will see what I mean in just a little bit. So once you have imported your photo that you'd like to edit, go over to Develop, and the photo that you imported should show up in the bottom tab under Smart Collections. And once you have selected your photograph, you will see this tool in the right-hand side over here. This is all we will need for today and nothing else, and there will be no Photoshop or other applications that we will be using. So first and foremost, when you have your photo ready, the first thing that we're going to do is go under to lens correction. And what we want to do here is click on this enable profile corrections. And what this does when we click it, you guys will see is it adjusts some of the colors and the light that's coming to the photograph, but mainly it's to get rid of distortion that the lens you were using caused in the photograph when you took it. And Lightroom is pretty smart because it automatically recognizes the lens that you were using. In my case, I was using a Canon EF 85mm. So once we've clicked enable profile correction, you'll close out of that. And I like to work my way from top to bottom, and sometimes we'll work our way back. So in the basic tab, we'll be presented with this. We have a temperature slider here that can adjust left and right, tint and exposure settings, and the highlight, shadows, whites, blacks, and the presence of the photo. First things I'm going to do here is, since I took this photo in the sunset, I would like to showcase more of that golden hour feeling. So I'm going to slide this to the right just a tad bit. And we are not going to mess around with the highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks because we will adjust that accordingly in the tone curve. So once you're finished with the basic tab, come over to the tone curve, find this channel here and make sure it is set to RGB. And for this line, a general rule of thumb is that we are going to create an S curve. So once you set it to RGB, create a dot here, and we will lift that up to raise the highlights. Make another one over here at the darks, and we will lower this just like that. And as you can tell, the photo looks much darker indeed, but that's no problem. That's why we will go back to the basic tab and adjust these 4 settings over here accordingly. Because I've been doing this for a long time now, this is my little trick. So I know that once I make the S curve on the tone curve settings, I'll raise my highlight all the way to the right, my whites all the way to the right, blacks all the way to the right, and immediately the photo looks much better. But I'll also raise the shadow just a little bit, but not too much. And as you guys could see, we brought out a lot of the colors that was washed out in the raw image file. And this looks good to me. I'm not going to mess with exposure and contrast because I'm happy with how bright the photo already is. I'll close out of that. And once we're finished with this, we can go back to the color section. And since we already brought out most of the colors that we'd like to see, now you can enhance it depending on what you like. So I can see that there's a lot of yellow in here. So I'm going to raise this bar to the right, just to my liking, some of that yellow pop. I also noticed that there's some greens in the background, so I'm going to slightly raise this. And that looks good to me as well. And now that I'm finished with editing the photo, you guys can look back to the original photo on how it looked like before. So if you want to see how the photo used to look like before, there's a reset button down here. If you click it, as you guys can see, although when you take a photo on your camera, although it looks great, post-editing processing is really a powerful tool because of how much color and light you can bring back to the photograph. And to go back to the edited photo, all you have to do is press Command Z if you are using a Mac. And I'll just go back and forth just a few more times. Command Z. You may also sharpen the photo if you'd like. I don't like to do this too much, but I like to put just a little, just to give it a little touch. And to give this photo a more vibrant effect, or more old school effect. As you can see, the photo is really clear. We can add grain to the photo, and it will just give it more of an old school look. The grain feature is really great when you're using black and white photographs. And I think I like that. That does it for my Adobe Lightroom post-processing editing tutorial. And I will now go to the questions and answer some of your questions. All right. So we have one audience, and he asks, what type of camera do I use? Now, the type of camera I use is a Canon 6D, and I have various lenses for it. For this photograph, I used the 85 millimeter Canon lens, which is great for portrait. In general, the lower the lens number range is, the wider it will be. So for landscape photography or realistic photography, it's recommended to use something like 15 to 35 millimeter. But for portrait photography, it's good to use something within 50 to 200 millimeter because it captures less of the background and more of the subject that you're photographing. And Dexter also asks, how long have I been doing photography? I picked up photography in 2015. I used to listen to this one rapper named Logic, and he had this photographer who always used to take amazing photos. And so I bought my own equipment and I started shooting with my friends and shooting photography because I just loved the way how images looked once I shared them with social media. I truly enjoy looking at sunsets. And yeah, thank you guys so much for attending my Lightroom editing tutorial. And I hope you enjoyed and learned something. Good luck to you in the future.